Hello, my luminous beings this morning. I'm jumping on in a little bit of a funny vibe. What am I? I'm an individual who would love to see the world transform in beautiful ways. I'm neurodiverse. I realize I'm going to try to come up with a cool tagline, but honestly, I thank all my other creators that I'm connected to because you all help me. Please understand that. If there's nothing else I can give out there in the world, is that generosity makes the world go round. This was gifted to me. I get to love it. My mother allows me the opportunity to have a garden on her space. In a capitalistic society, I shouldn't exist because I'm not paying major dollars for this and I don't have an income and I should feel ashamed of myself and just crawl under a rock. Why? Why? But other people work so hard. I'm sorry, I was working 3 jobs. I've worked longer than the boomers. I've come and gone with money, been a house owner. I've played this fucking game of economy since 1995. I'm not impressed. I'm over it, y'all. I'm over it. And now I'm excited because my neurodiverse community, those who are raised to be ashamed of ourselves, those who are raised to think every little nuance of thing that we had to ask for to make our lives worth living, sensory accommodations, understanding, patience, grace, the opportunity for us to have our own voice to say, I can't do that because my inner world wants to rip me apart. I mean, if I were looking at it like this, the Vulcans, let's go Star Trek for a minute for anybody who's a Trek fan. Neurodiverse. We're Vulcans and Romulans. So for me, being autistic, I know that a lot of individuals who are autistic and female presenting have been misdiagnosed with mood disorders, like borderline personality disorder. I know a lot of dark empaths who go down the place of, you hurt me. Now, either I'm going to cut myself, hurt myself, or I'm going to lash out on the world and let them hurt the way I've hurt. Well, I was watching, what was it, Strange New Worlds, the Pike Star Trek show, and Spock was talking about I'm going to hold this light. Spock was all talking about the fact that Vulcans have just really intense emotions, so they've learned to suppress them. Masking anyone? But the Romulans, they were like, let's take over the world. We're going to take over. I mean, in other timelines, the Romulans were like the war force. So I'm hopeful that my neurodiverse community can see that the rigid thinking, the extremes that we live with are what's driving the extremes around us. Why do we suffer? We live with struggles internally, which magnify outside. If I can't handle making myself breakfast because I didn't have the space clean the day before, because other things weren't in place, and all of a sudden, one person might be like, no big deal. That's easy. I'll task switch. Neurodiverse, look up task switching. That's where we struggle. Okay, okay, okay. So they just task switch like nobody's business. I've worked really, really hard to wire my brain so I can task switch without pain, without anger, without feeling like the world's been taken away from my control. I'm really proud of it. It's taken so much work to be able to go, oh, my plan's completely changed. All of that's going to change. Okay. Because I had to unwind all the traumatic thinking of, I'm getting in trouble. I don't have control. I'm going to fail. I can't mitigate or moderate myself. I can't accommodate myself. Keep, dog toy. I can't keep my mask on. I can't stay hidden. Well, that's because we're not supposed to anymore, boo. The whole world's being asked to grow up. The whole world's being asked to mature because we're all dealing with some major problems. You know, this planet thing. So what do we do? My neurodiverse, beautiful babies, my luminous beings, all of those who recognize themselves more than the human experience, all of those who go, what do you mean you can just wake up, not realize you brushed your teeth, not realize you did all these things and got to where you're going? You're like, oh, I'm here. How did that happen? Hell, we're lucky if we can go, shh. I mean, how many of us have to take drugs whether it be prescription, whether it be cannabis, whether it be meditation. I really like the sun. Whatever. How many of us have to do that to artificially tune, quiet, make ourselves smaller for the majority of the world, the neurotypicals of the world, because we're too much, huh? We're a freaking field. We're a freaking forest. And they're like, but I just want to build a tree. I just want a tree. And we're like, but we're a forest. And they're like, that's too much. I just want a tree. I want to build a little tree house. And we're like, a forest of resources and opportunities and potential. They're like, yeah, that's a waste. I'll raise that whole forest for you. You seem to be really focused on it. So we'll just take away all those trees and then we'll build the house. And then we feel completely misunderstood. We're like, no, we wanted to find a way to work with you. We wanted to find a way to make it easier on all of us to work this whole thing together because, there's a planet and there's people. That's the guarantee of living. There are going to be planets and there's going to be people. All the other cool doodads that we play with, it's promises. Nothing's guaranteed. The only guarantee is nothing's guaranteed. So do we live life from the place of, I have to guarantee it for myself, therefore I am legitimate? Or do we get to live life from, it's all an experiment? There really isn't a guarantee. I can appreciate and have gratitude for what's worked out, accepting that statistically, it probably shouldn't have. Oh, that humbled me fast. Like 2 years fast, but fast. It took 2 years of going, oh, okay, so I'm really mad this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But oh my goodness, it supposedly worked out just the way it's supposed to for me. Okay. How's that happening? Well, patterns of choices, my darlings. People we've connected with, belief systems we've engaged with, systems we have built for ourselves. I have sacrificed a lot of mental health in order to ensure that my relationship with my mother, a boomer, believing in how things should look, narcissistic programming, anxiety based, raised me like as a doll, living vicariously through me, not allowing me to have feelings without completely critiquing them constantly. And now, finally in 2023, I can feel sovereign and have a relationship with my mother as a person to a person. Yeah, she wants to see me as a kid sometimes, but now she's starting to respect I'm an adult with a full life and breadth of experience that she and I can now reflect on together as more peer-like. She doesn't have to be mommy because I'm a mommy. I'm an adult. My 18-year-old has got their shit together enough to have a job, pay bills, and feel okay. And they're trans. And they're queer in a relationship with an individual who has high needs. Oh my God, y'all. I'm fucking proud. I'm so proud. How many of us are proud of what our actual accomplishments are? How many of us actually give ourselves credit for all that we have gone through and all that we have survived? How many of us have been our own friend? If you haven't been able to be your own friend, my dears, stop the presses. That's where to start. And I know it sounds weird and conceptual. No, literally. If your friend says, hey, could you do this for me? And you go, sure. And you say, oh, I'm hungry. And you go, you're not being a friend to yourself. Simple. Get down to that framework. Get down to that formula. We are neurodiverse. We understand formulas. Get down to the patterns. Change your life. You change your life, it absolutely changes those around me. I have relationships with my mother, my teens, and myself. I will find relationships with you all in new ways. But in the meantime, let's make this work easier for us. Otherwise, we're not going to make it through. I am so proud of you. Thank you for listening, for being around, for keep going, because we've got to do this somehow. And the only way we're going to lift each other up is by literally reaching out our hands, our resources, and reminding us for all that life is, we have learned to work together in new ways. So thank you for being a part of my journey.